What is going on, guys? It's Azzy here coming at you back with another video, and today we are going to be doing the smartphones of 2019. The good, the bad, and the ugly. There's a lot that's happening with smartphones in 2019, and you know, a lot of it was good, there was some bad, and there was a bit more ugly than we were expecting, I guess. So let's dive into it and see what it's all about. So, when I say good, bad, and ugly, we have it split into a lot of subcategories. So for the good, we have best design, best display, most feature-rich phone, best value, biggest battery, best camera, best video, biggest hype, and then my top pick. And then for the bad, we have the ugliest design, or the worst design, the most overpriced, the flop of the year, and then the most unknown, or most under the radar. Which under the radar could go either way, but as for the pick, it's not going great. And then for the ugly, which is the biggest fuck up, the biggest disappointment, and the don't ever buy this award. So let's hop on into it. Let's start with the good. Start out with the best design. And phones have gotten interesting designs over the past couple years. We had the notch for a while, we had the iPhone X with the notch, and then we had all these notches last year, and then we had the really, really bad Pixel 3 XL notch. And then we had the hole punch with the Galaxy S10. But best design award this year is going to the OnePlus 7 Pro. Look, OnePlus absolutely knocked it out of the park with the design this year. It looks just so good. You got that beautiful 6.7-inch display. And you have all the high-end specs. You have Snapdragon 855, 8 or 12 gigs of RAM, and 128 or 256 gigs of storage. You have some of the fastest charging in any phone. Not only do you have up to 256 gigs of storage, but it's also a super fast UFS 3.0 storage, which is definitely appreciated. And you also have a pretty big 4,000 mAh battery and a 90 Hz refresh rate display. And let me tell you, 90 Hz makes a lot of difference. Sure, 60 Hz is the standard for displays in 2019, and that's fine. 60 Hz is no big deal. Like, my daily driver, Samsung Galaxy S9, is a 60 Hz display. And, you know, it's fine. It's pretty smooth. But then you have the upper 90 Hz, like the OnePlus 7 Pro and the Google Pixel 4, and then you have 120 Hz stuff, which is like Asus ROG Phone 2 and iPad Pro. The OnePlus 7 Pro is kind of like the best value high refresh rate display too. So that's cool. And you have all those high-end specs, and with phones that have all the high-end specs costing $1,000, upwards of almost $2,000 for some of the folding phones, having a phone with all these specs for $680 is actually really refreshing. So I would recommend OnePlus 7 Pro in 2019. It's a fantastic phone. Next up is the best display in any phone. So it's not easy to pick the best display because a lot of displays have gotten really good. You know, the iPhones, they've always had some of the best LCD displays. They've always had really good 1080p displays. And a lot of newcomers have had really good displays. But one company in particular that has always had the best displays, and that's Samsung. Samsung has always had really good displays. And this year, the best display award is going to Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus. Like I said, Samsung has had the best displays in the business for a while now. The Note 10 Plus does step it up in a big way. This phone, let me tell you, it has a huge display. It is a 6.8-inch dynamic AMOLED display. And it's a massive phone. But I think a lot of people will appreciate that because Personally, I do like bigger phones. I mean, my Galaxy S9 has a 5.8-inch display, so it's an inch smaller than that Note 10 Plus. But I think for a lot of people, this smaller Note 10 might be the better option, but you do take a lot of hits to some features with the standard Note 10. Like, you remove the expandable memory, you remove a lot of random features. Now, I would probably recommend the S10 Plus over the Note 10 Plus for one feature in particular, and that the Note is missing, and that is the Note is the first mainstream Samsung phone to not include the headphone jack, which is kind of weird how they would kill it on the Note and not the Galaxy S11. That seems a little bit weird to me, and some of you may agree with me on that. Even though that display is massive on the Note 10 Plus, it's like the overall footprint is actually not that much bigger than a normal plus size phone like the iPhone 11 Pro Max or like the Pixel 4 XL or something like that, because those bezels are really, like, they're razor thin. Like, you have no side bezels because of those curved edges, but Samsung's been doing the curved edges for a while now, we already know that. But those on top and bottom bezels are also super small. So that's nice. And that is a super high quality display. Looks fantastic. That's why Note 10 Plus wins my display award. Next up is the most feature-rich phone. So a lot of phones, they've been gaining a lot of new features. And, you know, it's kind of hard to pick a feature-rich phone because there's a lot that's so good. But my most feature-rich phone of this year is Galaxy S10 Plus. Look, I'm picking the S10 Plus because it's got so much, and this phone has probably gone down in price since it's released earlier in the year, and you can probably get it for, I don't know, like $700 now, which is solid. But the S10 Plus is a super good phone in 2019. It's got all the high-end specs. It's got Snapdragon 855. You have 8 gigs of RAM, 128 or 512 gigs of storage, and also with the S10 Plus, you get up to 1 terabyte of storage. But you also get the ceramic back with that 1 terabyte, which is, I haven't seen ceramic in person, but I've seen it in pictures and it looks really good. But if you get the 128 gig model, you get the standard glass on the back, with all those prism colors, as they call it. So you have the prism white, you have the prism black, prism blue, and also I think you have like flamingo pink. If I was to choose any of those colors, I would go either for the prism blue or that prism black. Another thing that the S10 Plus keeps that a lot of newer phones are actually dropping this year is the micro SD card slot. It has a micro SD card slot, and you can put up to 1 terabyte SD card in it, which is super welcome in 2019 for expandable memory. Sure, you have at the base 128 gigs of storage, which for a lot of people is probably enough, but it's nice to have that option for that expandable memory. So that's welcome addition. Like I said, I would recommend this over the Note because it has the headphone jack, which the Note doesn't. So you kind of take that trade-off if you get the Note, but the Note is also a really good phone, but you know, that's just that one sort of trade-off that you hit when you get the Note over the S10. Now on to the best value award, or the best bang for your buck. Bang for your buck or best value could be considered in a bunch of ways. You could have like ultra cheap phones, or you could just have like sort of mid-range phones. But for me, I'm picking sort of what I like to call an ultra mid-range phone that has gone down in price since the release early in the year, and that is Samsung Galaxy S10e. I picked this phone because it's just the perfect thing. Now, at its launch, it was $750, which is not cheap, but it's still better than the $900 Galaxy S10 and the $1,000 Galaxy S10 Plus. So it's, you know, better in that area. But you have a really solid phone for $750. You have a really good display. Now, it's not quite as good as that S10 and S10 Plus because it's only a 1080p AMOLED as opposed to a 1440p AMOLED, but it is rivaling mainly the iPhone 11 or iPhone XR at its release date, which does have a much worse display than that S10e. So if you were going for display quality alone, I would easily recommend the S10e over the iPhone because who doesn't like AMOLED? And a lot of times with these more mid-range phones, you have pretty decent build quality, but you take a hit to the specs. We'll take the Pixel 3a for example. This phone got released in May, and it's sure it is a plastic build, but you have pure stock Android, which is nice since it's a Google phone, and you have that clean build of Android does mean pretty decent performance, but you do take a hit to the specs. You have, with the S10e, you get the full Snapdragon 855 and 6 or 8 gigs of RAM and 120 gigs of storage. With the Pixel 3a, you only get that Snapdragon 670 as opposed to the 855 on the S10e, which might be okay for a lot of people, but for a power user, you will start to know the difference with the S10e's 855 as opposed to the 670 on that Pixel 3a. Now, yes, the Pixel 3a is around $400 and $480 if you get the 3a XL, but I would much rather have that S10e. And since it was released earlier in the year, it's now gone down in price. I think you can get it for around like $550 now, which for that phone is a freaking solid deal. Now, next up is the biggest battery. And batteries in smartphones seem to get bigger and bigger every year. Well, for most phones, Pixel. But honestly, phones do pretty well with battery management. It seems to get better and better over year. But you cannot deny that a big battery is going to be the best for actual consumption. And for that, I'm picking the best battery in the Asus ROG Phone 2. First off, I mean, terrible name, but this phone is a behemoth of a phone. I mean, Asus, what the actual fuck? You guys went absolutely nuts with specs. You have Snapdragon 855 Plus, up to a terabyte of storage. You have 12 gigs of RAM, and the battery, which is a 6,000 milliamp hour battery. I'm gonna repeat that one more time. 6,000 milliamp hour battery. What? You may have to reset your expectations for battery consumption, because my daily driver, Galaxy S9, has a 3,000 milliamp hour battery, and I gotta say, battery life on this phone is garbage. It's really bad. That Asus is on a complete another level. It's almost like it's on its own planet when it comes to battery life. It's crazy. If you're looking for the best battery, Asus ROG Phone 2, or just ROG Phone 2. Don't even put the Asus in there because the name's already terrible. Now you have the best camera in a phone. And this goes to the company that's been doing it pretty well for the past, I'd say 3 years at this point. They had the best camera praised by a bunch of reviewers over the past couple of years. And this year it does step it up. And for that, I'm gonna pick Google Pixel 4. So I say the Pixel 4 because I like how the photos look. Now, the Pixel 2 had easily the best camera of 2017. Pixel 3 had easily the best camera of 2018. Pixel 4 is sitting in best place for the camera, but there is one phone that's really close and also trumps it in terms of the video quality. And that is where the best video award comes in. And for that, I'm going to pick iPhone 11 Pro. Now, the iPhone has been the best in video for a while. It shoots super smooth 4K at 60 frames per second. And the Pixel can only shoot 4K at 30 frames per second, which you do see a noticeable difference. That 4K 60 looks incredible. It is an awesome freaking, it's so nice to have that, just to have that 4K 60. It does make a difference once you see it. Now, the iPhone can also record 4K 30, so if you put them side by side, so you put the 4K 30 on the iPhone side by side with the Pixel, you can see that it's probably around the same, but the iPhone I feel like will still be a higher quality, because the iPhone just had better video, but the iPhone can also record 4K 24, which the Pixel is locked at 4K 30. And now moving on to my biggest hype, or the phone that I've been most excited about. And it's not a traditional smartphone. It is a smartphone, but it's not like your traditional Galaxy S10, iPhone 11, or any of that. It's a phone that's just that brings a lot of nostalgia, but a remake in 2019, and that is the new Motorola Razr. Look, I've never been excited about a phone this much. And also, first off, Motorola, that review video, that's freaking dope. I mean, like, I've reset my sound test to be that video alone. Like, that might be the coolest reveal video of all time. Like, that is so cool. It's an ad that catches your eye. Like, an ad you actually want to watch. So yeah, the Moto Razr. Now, here's the thing. The phone seems cool, but it's not all great on paper. You don't have the top high-end specs, which might be fine if it was around a $500 phone, but it's not even close to that. Yeah, it's $500. It is not. It is not even near that. So you have the Snapdragon 710, which is a mid-range chip, which again would be fine if this phone was around $500, $600, but it's not. It's not even close. And you have the Adreno, I think 616, and you also have 6 gigs of RAM and 120 gigs of storage. I'm so excited about the Razr. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend picking it up. Sure, a lot of people probably aren't going to notice the specs. It's probably going to be pretty snappy, but again, if this phone was $500, I wouldn't complain about those specs. But this phone is $1,500. Nope. 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 Now, there were a lot of good things about smartphones in 2019, but not all were good. There were some bad things and some just kind of not good. So, first category in the bad is the worst design award. And this could be subjective, just like the best design award could be subjective, but for me, the ugliest design is, unfortunately, I hate to give this one to this phone because it's so good, but it is the iPhone 11 Pro. Like, I really hate to give it to this phone because the phone is so damn good. It's just that camera square is just, no, I don't like it. Nope. Nope. And next up is the most overpriced phone. So phones shoot up in price every year. We've seen in 2017, we've seen $1,000 flagships. We see $1,000 flagships become the norm last year in 2018. And we've seen phones that are $1,000 and more this year. But this year, the most overpriced phone is a phone that costs $2,000. And that is no other than the infamous Samsung Galaxy Fold. Let me just start by saying, this phone should not exist in 2019. It's trash. If you have this many problems in a phone, it should straight up be canceled. No. No. This Samsung, this isn't good. It sucks to have this stuff on a reputation for a company, but it sucks even worse when it's a company like Samsung. Samsung makes millions of dollars on their phones. They are one of the most popular phone manufacturers. We all know that. I mean, they've had faults like they had back in 2016, the Note 7 with the exploding batteries, but that's not their fault. I mean, sure, that hurt their reputation, but they recovered from that with the Note 8 and figure that all out later on. But the Fold, the shit that happened to the Fold is just, whoo. So the Fold was released in February alongside the S10 lineup, and it got into reviewers' hands around April, and then once it got into reviewers' hands, there is a badly marked screen protector. It's not actually a screen protector, it's actually part of the display. So here's the thing, The interior screen, since it's a full screen display, it folds, and it's actually not glass, it's actually a plastic display, because if you flex glass too much, it'll just shatter, which is good on Samsung's part for not doing that, but it had too many problems. Like, they never made it clear that is not a screen protector, but reviewers still went and peeled it off, and then hours later realized their display is like, and they look like this. If you have that many problems and then have to delay the phone and then release it again 4 months later, but still have all this dust and debris getting in the hinge, you should just cancel the phone. Like, it's so bad. So that's why I'm never recommending the Galaxy Fold to anyone. I think it's a piece of junk, but maybe that gets it better for Galaxy Fold 2. Maybe it'll be actually a phone that you should like even touch, because this thing is so fragile. It's not even funny. Next up is the flop of the year, and flop of the year could be in a couple different definitions. You could have the phone that f***ed up the most, Galaxy Fold. You could have the phone that just had too many screw-ups, Pixel, or you could just have the phone that is the sales, which is what I'm considering here. And the phone with the worst sales, the flop of the year for me, is unfortunately the LG G8. See, I hate to give this phone because the G8 is a really, really good phone. I do recommend the G8. It's got all the high-end specs. It's got Snapdragon 855, 128 gigs of storage, 6 gigs of RAM. It keeps the headphone jack. It's got USB Type-C, wireless charging, dual cameras. It does have a physical fingerprint sensor, which actually some people may prefer. Some people may prefer the underclass fingerprint sensor. It's a really good phone, so it's like, it doesn't really deserve the award as flop of the year. The only reason it deserves it is because nobody really bought it. And I think it might have been overshadowed at the time because the Galaxy S10 just has all these new features, and the G8's not really doing enough new to justify its price tag. And also later on, I think it might have been overshadowed by the, I guess, maybe better G8X from LG, but I don't know. Next up is the most unknown, or most under the radar. Now, the under the radar could go either way. You could have it be actually a really good phone that just nobody really pays attention to, or it could just be a phone that just didn't pick up a lot of traction. And that's where this phone is going this year. And it's also going to another LG phone, and it's going to the LG V50. A lot of people don't know the V50 actually exists, and I don't blame them, because LG announced this phone alongside the G8 back in February, which is unusual for the V-Series phones, because usually the V-Series phones are announced around the same time as the Note, or Samsung announces the new Notes, or the newest iPhones are announced. So it's around that same time, but it got announced in February, which is like 6 months after the V40 came out. And the V40 is a really good phone. You can still get the V40 in a lot of stores, and the V40 is also really good. It's almost like the same phone, except the V50 now has 5G. It also has the 855, and also it just doesn't help that LG just kept the announcement of the phone just really quiet. Like, they really heavily focused on the G8 at that event, and then they just really kept the V50 just like super quiet, and just like something that they didn't really want a lot of people to know about, almost. I mean, they wanted people to know about it, but like they just kept it like almost like really ominously quiet. Like, and next up is the ugly. So we have 3 categories in the ugly. Obviously, we talked about that in the intro. But first is the biggest fuck up of 2019. And you probably already saw this coming, but it is the Galaxy Fold. I already went in depth on just how bad this phone is, and I don't really need to go in depth again or want to go in depth again. But like, there's no possible way for me to recommend this phone, because it's so bad. It has too many problems, And next up is the biggest disappointment of the year. Some of you may have saw this coming, some of you may not have. A lot of you would probably think I would have said Galaxy Fold for this one, but I'm not saying that for this year. I'm saying Pixel 4 and Pixel 4 XL. Google cut way too many corners with this phone. I know I said that the camera was really good, and it is. I really do like the camera on the Pixel 4, but that's really where but it falls short in like almost everything else. Like there's so much that the Pixel 4 is missing compared to iPhone 11 Pro, Galaxy Note 10 or S10, and just a lot of other flagship phones. Like I could go down a whole list of what the Pixel 4 is missing, but I don't want to make this video longer than it has to be, so I'm just going to go down a few things. So Google goes and tries to copy the iPhone's camera square and, you know, have all this, but they do it by missing, with one exception. They're missing an entire camera. They're missing the ultra-wide camera.
Oh, hell no!
And on the standard Pixel 4, you have an absolutely minuscule 2800 milliamp battery.
Oh, hell no!
That's why I've been saying Pixel for a lot of the video, because the battery life is just ridiculously terrible. Now having to pay for the original photo quality on Google Photos on Google's own phone.
Oh, hell no!
Max of 128 gigs of storage when the iPhone 11 Pro has a max of 512 gigs of storage. Galaxy S10 Plus has a max of a terabyte of storage. OnePlus 11 Pro has a max of 256 gigabytes.
Oh, hell no!
Pixel, what the f? No headphone jack. Well, we might have seen that one coming, actually. But no USB-C headphones or USB-C to headphone jack adapter in the box.
Oh, hell no!
And now for my top pick and for my don't ever buy this award. So my top pick this year is, I praised it a lot, it is the Samsung Galaxy S10. Like, this phone is just, it's easily the phone to beat this year. It is so freaking good. You have all of these amazing features. You have pretty much everything anyone would want in a smartphone. Like, it's just, the Galaxy S10 is just so good. And then my don't ever buy this award, and a lot of you would probably end up thinking I would say Galaxy Fold, but I've already said that enough. I will say it to the Pixel 4 and Pixel 4 XL. Do not buy these phones. They are fucking trash. Like when you have all these corners cut and you try to sell the phone for $800 and a max of $1,000, it just shouldn't exist. Like, this phone's fucking garbage. Get this piece of shit out of here. No. So there you guys have it. That is the smartphones of 2019, all the awards, and hopefully we see good things from smartphones in 2020. I think if you guys can vote up there if you guys want me to keep doing this every year, if you guys want me to keep doing the smartphones of 2019. And also I'll probably leave a poll up on Instagram and Twitter once this, or not Twitter, Instagram and Snapchat once this video comes out, so you guys can vote on whether I should keep doing these videos or not. So yeah, but that's gonna wrap it up for this smartphone awards, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.